All right, what's up guys? VV back with another video. And in today's video, it is time to do an OP-13 pre-release guide. That's right guys, pre-releases will be starting this Friday, I believe, for OP-13 for us over here in the West. So we have to do what we have to do to prepare for that. All right, so let's do this, guys. As usual, I will have everything time-stamped in the general description, and I'll have all relevant links and stuff like that in the comment section below. If you guys have any comments, questions, or suggestions, please do not hesitate to put those down in the comment section below, or hop on the VV Theory Discord. Link will be in the channel description. Today's video is brought to you by Nin Garden, and pre-orders are now open for 4 new playmats, including Berserk, Absolute Ruler, Chaos Crew, and Green Fury. They also carry apparel like the Kings of Heart tee and matching pin. Plus, for this month only, take part in their Halloween Mystery Playmat sale, which comes with 10 free card sleeves with your order. And don't forget to use the code TheVV at the checkout to get 8% off on your next order. Alright guys, before we hop into this, 2 things I gotta mention real quick. We are going to be having a birthday stream tonight for me on YouTube, okay? So, if you are free from 9 p.m. Eastern, sometime around there, to 12 a.m., it's going to be a 3-hour window, I will be streaming here on YouTube a birthday stream, okay? There's going to be a giveaway. There's going to be 2 Nin Garden playmat giveaways, and I'm going to be opening up a box of PRB02 on stream. I stream on YouTube every Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday from 9 p.m. to 12 a.m., but tonight will be a special one because it's going to be for my birthday, okay? Now, technically, my birthday is not till tomorrow, but I only stream Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays, okay? So that's kind of the whole idea there. But please, guys, if you get free, come by, come hang out, stop by. We're going to have a good time, hopefully, doing a birthday-style stream. 2 Nin Garden playmat giveaways, okay? And a PRB02 box opening. So, that's the first thing. Second thing is this. Let me lay out the format real quick of how we're going to do this. I'm going to try to move at a pretty quick pace, guys, because there's a lot of cards. We're going over all 119 cards or whatever it is of OP-13, okay? So I'm going to try to move pretty quickly through this, all right? So let me get some terminology out of the way up front here, guys. Notice in the top right corner of your screen here where it says bruisers, blockers, counters, card draw, and removal. When I am mentioning these words, these terms in today's video, these are the 5 things I think you need to look for to build your deck, okay? When I say bruisers, I'm talking about a character that has a 5 to 6,000 power base power, okay? 5 to 6,000 base power character, okay? Or anything above that, okay? That's what I mean when I say a bruiser body or a bruiser build, okay? Blockers, pretty obvious, right? A character with blocker. Counters. When I say counters, yes, 1K counters are important, but I'm typically talking about 2K counters or higher, okay? So 2K counter characters or events with a 3K counter or more on it or something like that, right? Anything in that range. Then we have card draw, pretty straightforward, and then removal, okay? So there's going to be 5 things we're looking for as we're going through each one of these cards. That's going to determine if we want to include these cards in our sealed deck, right? For any of the new players out there, when you go to a pre-release, I probably should have mentioned this in the beginning, but if you're a newer player, whenever you go to a pre-release event for One Piece, they will typically give you a Rainbow Luffy leader to build a deck around. Some places still allow you to run whatever leader you want to, and of course, whatever leader you open with your packs, you can typically run those. But generally speaking, you're going to be building around a Rainbow Luffy. All of my analysis and, breaking down of each one of these cards today, I'm going to be assuming you're building out of Rainbow Luffy. If you're a more advanced sealed player, then of course build how you want to, right? But for the newer players out there, you're going to get a Rainbow Luffy leader, and then you're going to build a 40-card deck around it, okay? Not 50, not like a standard 50-card deck, a 40-card deck, okay? Now, if you guys have any other questions or if I missed anything, oh, don't forget to bring sleeves, guys. That's one thing I always want to try to mention for the newer players. Don't forget to bring some extra sleeves to sleeve your deck up with when you get to your sealed events, your pre-release events. Now, if I missed anything, guys, or if you have any other questions, please do not hesitate to ask those down in the comment section below, okay? Now, let's do this, guys. Let's dive into this. Let's get right into it. I'm going to try to work pretty quickly because we have a lot of cards to go over, and I'm not going to focus on the leaders at all, okay? All right, let's do this. All right, guys, let's get into this, starting off with the red cards. These are the leaders. We're not going to be talking about these. We got Luffy, Ace, Roger, and Sabo. Okay, so first up we have Inazuma. This is a 4-cost 5K with a 2K counter. On play, give up to 1 rested Dawn card to your leader. Very solid card for sealed. A great 2K counter to get your hands on if you can snag some of these. And remember, guys, you're just going to get 6 sealed boosters, so you have no idea what you're going to get. This is a great 2 counter to look out for, though. Next up is Whoop Slap. This is a 1-cost, 0-power, 1K counter character. With on play, give up to 2 rested Dawn cards to one of your Luffy cards, your Monkey D. Luffy cards. Generally speaking, in sealed, you probably want to stay away from the super low-cost characters, even if that means you're not going to have a 1 Dawn or 2 Dawn play. That's not really a big deal in sealed, typically speaking. It's nice to have 1-cost chump blockers and stuff like that, or maybe a really strong 1-cost searcher. But in the case here, guys, I don't think this card provides enough value to include in your sealed deck. So I would probably avoid this card unless you just simply have no other better card to put in your deck. Okay, next up we have Ace, Sabo, and Luffy. This is a 1-cost, but it's a 2K counter. Okay, so now already, that's starting to, get into consideration, right? Okay, 2K counter, I'm already starting to consider it. And then this card has an activate main. Give one of your active Dawn cards to one of your leaders or character cards and trash this character. Give up to one of your opponent's characters minus 3,000 power during this turn. So this is a great card for sealed because number one, it's a 2K counter, right? So it already checks that box for us. And then it also has pseudo removal. Remember, guys, when it comes to sealed, there's not going to be a lot of removal and card draw just floating around. It depends on the set, obviously, and it depends on what pull you get from your 6 random, sealed boosters. But this works. Any kind of power reduction in sealed is practically removal. Okay, so this is a 2K counter with pseudo removal built in. Great card for sealed. Okay, there's the alt art. Okay, next up we have Emporio Ivankov. This is a 2-cost character. It does have a 1K counter and 3,000 power, but this is really just meant to be KO prevention for Revo Army. Not a great card to prioritize in sealed. Okay, next up we have Curly Dedan, 1-cost, 2,000 power character with a 1K counter, and it has, if you have a Mountain Bandits type character other than this card, this character gains double attack. I guess it's not the worst 1-cost to play in sealed if you do have some Mountain Bandits to pair with it. But generally speaking, unless you see the perfect pull, I would probably stay away from this card in sealed. Okay, next up is Lord of the Coast. So this is where I get the term bruiser from, guys. These 6-cost, 8,000 power, 1K counter vanilla characters are excellent in sealed, okay? Because you put them down and now you have an 8,000 power body on the board, and even if you top deck one later in the game, it's a 1K counter in hand. These are auto includes up to a certain point. I would say you probably want to get around anywhere from like 10 to 14, maybe 10 to 15 bruisers in your deck. Just these cards you can put down and start smashing into your opponent's board. Okay, really good card here for sealed. Next up is Nefeltari Cobra, 5-cost, 6,000 power, 2K counter vanilla. Another excellent pick for sealed. Okay. Next up, we have Nefeltari Vivi. Now, this is a 1-cost searcher. It's a 1-cost, 2,000 power, 1K counter character with an on-play. Look at 4 cards from the top of your deck. Reveal up to 1 Alabasta or Straw Hat Crew card with a cost of 2 or more and add it to your hand. Then place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. So let me get the searchers out of the way real quick, guys. When it comes to including searchers in your deck for sealed, if you do not have probably 10 to 12 or more of the cards you can search up with your searcher, it's probably not worth including, okay? Unless there's just a really strong card that you're always going to try to go for, some type of boss character that can win you games, then maybe you might want to run the searcher for it, even if you don't have enough searchable targets in the deck, in general, okay? Next up is Higuma, 1-cost 3K on play, KO up to one of your opponent's characters with, KO up to one of your opponent's characters with 0 power or less. Yes, this is technically removal, guys, but 0 power characters, you're not going to have a lot of ways to combo this when it comes to sealed. You're not just going to get to pick a bunch of cards to include in your deck. You're just going to get 6 boosters and have 6 boosters worth of random cards. So this is not a great card for sealed. Being able to KO a 0 power character doesn't really help all that much, generally speaking. 1-cost 3K is good stats, but there's no counter on this. I would avoid this card in sealed unless you have something else in mind. Okay, 2K counter, Port Gosti Rouge, but this just has a trigger. Up to one of your Port Gosti Ace cards gains plus 3,000 power during this turn. I think we are going to have access to better 2K counters within this set. But worst case scenario, if you don't get a lot of 2K counters and you get this, you can still use it, obviously. Okay, next up is Makino, another 2K counter, 1 cost 0 power, 2K counter, activate main, rest this character, and up to one of your Luffy cards gains plus 2,000 power during this turn. If you're playing with Rainbow Luffy, this is actually a great 2K counter to help sneak lethal later on in the game, right? Because you can play this out for 1, rest it, and now instead of, imagine it like this. You could either play this card out for 1 or attach 1 Dawn to your leader, right? Well, if you play this card out for 1, it's almost like you're attaching 2 Dawn to your leader, so it does have that extra value, and it's a 2K counter. This is a solid 2K counter to have in sealed, but there might be better options, guys. I think there's a lot of really good 2K counters in OP-13. Okay, Monkey D. Garp, great searcher. Now, this is an awesome searcher here, guys. 1 cost, 2,000 power, 1K counter. That part's all standard. On play, if your leader is Sabo, Ace, or Luffy, look at 4 cards from the top of your deck and reveal up to 1 card with a cost of 3 or more and add it to your hand, then place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. Well, guys, when it comes to sealed, that's basically your entire deck, okay? And if you're running Rainbow Luffy, well, then you're going to be just fine. You can run this card. This is a all-star pick right here, guys. It is a searcher, it's card drawing that way, and then it's also a counter, and it can search up pretty much everything in the deck. Really, really good stuff here. Great card, auto-include in sealed. Okay. Alright, then we have the Garp Altart, looks really awesome. Okay, next up we have Monkey D. Dragon. This is a 6 cost, 7,000 power, 1K counter character. With once per turn, if your Rebel Army type character would be removed from the field by your opponent's effect, you may give this character minus 2,000 power during this turn instead. So this card has evasion built in, and if I'm reading this correctly, he can even protect himself along with other Rebel Army type characters once per turn. So this card's actually very solid for sealed, and it's a 6 cost 7K body with a 1K counter. So it's got that bruiser frame, and it has another thing to look out for. It has evasion built in. I usually don't include a few things on the things to look for, like with the bruisers, blockers, counters, card draw, and removal, but there's like 2 or 3 other things to look out for as well, like evasion in this case, where it can get around removal, or even things like Dawn Ramp or life gain or life burn. Those are things to also look out for. Okay, next up we have Wapole, 6 cost 7K, 2K counter, vanilla. Great card for sealed. Okay, now onto the red events here. We have, but Ace here said you deserved it. This is a 1 cost 3K counter, and then it has main, rest 4 of your Dawn cards, so that's 5 altogether. Give up to one of your opponent's characters minus 3,000 power during this turn, then KO up to one of your opponent's characters with 3,000 power or less. Excellent event for sealed, guys. It is a rare, but it has a 3K counter built in, and it has removal built in. Awesome. Auto include for sealed. Okay, next up we have Meteor Fist, 3 cost, main, give up to one of your opponent's characters minus 5,000 power during this turn, trigger, activate this card's main. Excellent pseudo removal for sealed, because think of it like this, guys. If your opponent swings in with a character, a bigger character, even a pretty big character like a 9K, 10K, 12K, 13, because there is a 13K character we're going to look at later. Even if they attack it with a 13,000 power character, if you hit them with a Meteor Fist, that drops it down to an 8,000 power character, and it's going to be a lot easier to attack into that to get rid of it. But if it's just a 6 or 7,000 power character and you hit it for minus 5,000, it's going to be very easy to attack into that character to get it off the field. Okay, Gum Gum Gatling Gun, 1 cost, main, give up to 1 rested Dawn card to your Luffy card. Give up to 1 rested Dawn cards to one of your Monkey D. Luffy cards. Then give up to one of your opponent's characters minus 2,000 power during this turn. And then trigger, give up to one of your opponent's characters minus 2,000 power during this turn. So this card's actually very nice for sealed, especially if you're running Rainbow Luffy or if you have enough Luffy cards or whatever. This card's actually very good because it can buff your character and reduce the power of another character. You're basically paying 1 Dawn for a 3,000 power difference, right? So really good stuff here. Okay, then we have Windmill Village, the stage, 1 cost, activate main, rest this stage up to one of your characters with 2,000 base power or less gains plus 1,000 power during this turn. Yeah, this is probably not worth including in sealed, guys. I'll say this in general. I'm sure there's some exceptions, but stages are usually not something to go for within sealed, okay? We'll see what happens in the future if there's any insane stages out there, but I would stay away from stages when building a sealed deck, at least generally speaking. Okay, now moving over to the green cards, we have Uda. 4 cost, 5,000 power, 1K counter, film character here with an on-play set up to 2 of your Dawn cards is active. Then you cannot play character cards with a base cost of 5 or more during this turn. And then on KO, play up to 1 character card with a cost of 5 or less from your hand rested. Guys, this is a pretty much an all-star when it comes to sealed. It's a 4-cost 5k with a 1k counter, so it has counter, it has a bruiser body stat line, and then it also has the ability to stand Dawn as active, so it's almost like it's a 2-cost 5k, right? And then it has an on KO effect, which is not quite evasion, but it has a way of punishing your opponent for removing the character, and then it allows you to cheat out a 5-cost character from your hand, and it doesn't matter what color the character is or what type it is. This card is excellent for sealed. There are a lot of good 5-cost characters in this set to cheat out with that on KO effect. Great card for sealed. Okay, there's the Altart. Okay, Gordon, 1-cost, 0-power, 2k counter. On play, you may reveal 1 music or film type card from your hand and set up to 2 of your Dawn cards as active at the end of this turn. I'm not a huge fan of this card, guys, if I'm being honest for sealed. It is at least a 2k counter, worst case scenario, but I probably would try not to include this unless you just need extra 2ks. Kobe, 5-cost, 6k, 1k counter with blocker. On play, if your leader has the film type or the strike attribute, set up to 1 of your Dawn cards as active. This is a great card to include in the deck. It's a blocker, it has counter, 6,000 power, and it's a 5-cost card. That goes perfectly if you do get an Uda. This card is great for sealed. Okay, next up is Sunny Kun, 1-cost, 2,000 power, 1k counter, activate main. Once per turn, you may rest 1 of your Dawn cards. This character gains plus 2,000 power until the end of your opponent's next turn. I guess this is actually a solid 1-drop for sealed if you don't have any other better things to include in your deck. But again, guys, I can't really stress enough, I try to stay away from 1-cost and 2-cost characters in my sealed decks. Okay, I try not to include those unless they just have some incredible utility, or if they're like some type of chump blocker or whatever, right? Not a huge fan of this card, but technically speaking, it's really not that bad of a 1-drop in sealed. Sanji, 5-cost, 7k. On play, set up to 2 of your Dawn cards as active, and at the end of your turn, if your leader has the film or Straw Hat Crew type, set up to 1 of your Dawn cards as active. So that end of your turn effect is probably not going to be as good in sealed unless you get a lot of good 1-cost, a bunch of good 1-cost events. However, that on play, setting up to 2 of your Dawn cards as active, this is a 5-cost, 7,000 power character, guys. It's practically a 3-cost, 7,000 power character. This card is outstanding for sealed. Okay, there's the Altart. Looks really good. Okay, now we have Shanks. We got our first boss level character here. I would consider any character that's like in the 8, 9, or 10 range in cost. Those are like the boss characters to look out for in sealed, and usually you should include them. Okay, this is a 10 cost, 12,000 power character that has on play set all of your Dawn cards as active. Then you cannot play cards from your hand during this turn. So yes, you won't be able to play anything else out for the rest of the turn, but you just played out a 10 cost 12k. You got all your Dawn back for the turn. You can leave some Dawn active for your opponent's turn if you have any events, or you could just attach a bunch of Dawn to your characters and your leader and just bash into their board. So this is just a great card for sealed, guys. Think of it like this. Removal is scarce. Typically speaking, removal is scarce in sealed. So being able to establish a 10 cost 12k body on the board like this, guys, absolutely devastating play. It'll basically lead to winning the game later on if you can survive on the next turn. So really, really powerful card here. Okay, there's the Altart. Next up, you have Jinbei, 6 cost, 7,000 power, 2k counter vanilla. Awesome card to include in your sealed deck. It has a 2k counter and this frame, a 6 cost, 7k body. Good stuff. Okay, Tony Chopper, 5 cost, 6k, 1k counter. On play, set up to 2 of your Dawn cards as active. So again, guys, this is like a 3 cost, 6,000 power character with a 1k counter. Great, great card for sealed. And it's a 5 cost character you could potentially cheat out with that Uda, guys. Really consider all the things you could cheat out with Uda. Uda might be an all-star auto-include for sealed. Okay, next up is Trafalgar Law. This is a 6 cost, 6k with... If you have 1 or less life cards, this character gains blocker, and then on play, you may return 1 of your characters to the owner's hand, and then play up to 1 character card with a cost of 5 or less from your hand rested. This card is really good in Constructed, or Standard, whatever you want to call it, but in Sealed, it's not insane. It's not bad, by the way. You can do tricks with this, especially if you get a Garp Searcher in this. You can do some good tricks with that, and there's a few other cards you could also combo it with. However, how do I say this? You want to stay away from combos in sealed because of consistency issues, right? You just want to have consistent cards to play out every turn that are the highest stats for what you can get. I would say, generally speaking, building the best mid-range tempo bruiser style deck that you can is the best way to go in Sealed. You want to be able to play out, especially starting on your 3 Dawn or 4 Dawn turn, you want to be able to play out like a 3 cost 5k or 4 cost 6k into a, into a 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 from there, just building your board up from there. So this is like a cool trick to be able to do. I'm sure there's a lot of cards you can combo this ability with, but in Sealed, I would not even try to run this card, if I'm being honest with you guys, unless you have at least 4 or 5 cards to combo with that on play effect, in both ways, by the way. Cards you want to pull back to your hand, and cards you want to play from your hand that cost 5 or less, okay? All right. Next up is Nico Robin. This card is actually really good for Sealed, guys. 7 cost, 7,000 power character with a 1k counter. Check. Everything's good here. 7 cost for 7,000 power. It's like on the lower end, but it doesn't matter. It's still 7,000 power, and it's a 1k counter in hand. And listen to this effect, guys. Up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 8 or less cannot be rested until the end of your opponent's next end phase. That means they can't block. That means they can't attack. That means they can't, if there's any kind of activate main to rest the character, they can't do that. Really nice version. It's not quite removal. It's more of like a stun effect, but really nice in Sealed. Next up is Frankie, 3 cost 5k, no counter, but listen to this on KO, guys. Rest up to 2 of your opponent's cards. It says cards, guys. That means Dawn, characters, leader, whatever, okay? This card is actually excellent for Sealed. This might be the best 3 cost character card that you can get in Sealed in OP-13. Definitely prioritize this card, guys. It's going to be a nightmare. You slam it down going first or second on turn 2, and you just start smashing into your opponent. If they want to KO this card, think about it like this. Okay, do they want to attack in first with their leader to get it, so that way they don't play out characters first for you to rest down? Okay, well, now you're going to rest 2 of their Dawn. Okay, well, do they want to play out their character first and then attack into it? Okay, well, now you rest down the character they just played. So this card right here in Sealed, All-Star, really good stuff here. No counter. Watch out for that, but still a very good card. Okay, next up is Brooke, 3 cost 4k, 1k counter, on play if your leader has the film or Straw Hat Crew type, set up to one of your Dawn as active, set up to one of your Dawn cards as active. I'm not a huge fan of this card. If you have no other options, sure, you can include this, but I would see it as this, guys. It doesn't have 5,000 power. It has a counter, but because it doesn't have 5k power, I would stay away from this unless you just have no other better 3 cost options that you come across. Okay, Beppo. Now, we got a real all-star here, guys. 5 cost, 7,000 power, no counter. However, it has the effect, end of your turn, set this character or up to one of your Dawn cards as active. The Dawn cards part in Sealed, not relevant compared to the first part there. Set this character as active. At the end of your turn, you're just beating in for 7k and standing this card as active. Incredible card. All-star for Sealed. Keep your eye out for this card. This is uncommon. This is a common card, guys. So was that Frankie, guys. This Frankie and this Beppo, commons. Great cards to fill your deck up with. Next up is Helmeppo, 5 cost, 6k, 2k counter, vanilla. Very good stuff here. Zorro, another all-star for Sealed, guys. 4 cost, 5k with a 1k counter. If your leader has film or Straw Hat Crew type, set up to 2 of your Dawn as active, and then end of your turn, set this character as active. If you establish this on a 4 Dawn turn, next turn, play out the Beppo, you're just beating into them, and they can't attack your board. They can't go for your board, guys. It becomes a nightmare for them to deal with. Zorro and Beppo. Now, this is a rare, but the Beppo's just a common, guys. This Beppo we just looked at, Zorro and Beppo, fill your deck up with these if you can, guys. Really, really powerful. Okay. Next up, you have Gum Gum Elephant Gun. 2 cost, main, rest up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 5 or less, then set up to 2 of your Dawn cards as active at the end of this turn. Trigger, rest up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 5 or less. This card is, it's fine. It's like pseudo removal. It's not quite removal, but you can rest down a 5 or less and attack into it or attack past it. It's not a bad card to have 1 or 2 of in the deck if you have no other better options. Okay, next up we have Gum Gum Snake Shot, 2 cost counter, KO up to one of your opponent's rested characters with a cost of 4 or less, trigger, activate this card's counter effect. So understand, guys, if your opponent goes to attack in with a 4 cost or lower character, when attacking effects would happen then, on your opponent's attack effects would happen after that, and then you would get to choose to block, then you would choose on block effects, and then the counter step happens. You will be able to KO your opponent's character here before they even get to deal damage. If it was a 4 cost or lower character, you can pay 2 and KO a rested character, and it's gone. And then they will not proceed to the damage step, and they won't deal damage to you. So this is actually a very good form of removal in Sealed. Okay, next up we have I Know You're Strong, so I'll go all out from the very start. This is a 1-cost 3K counter with main rest 2 of your Dawn cards, so that's 3 altogether. Up to 2 of your opponent's rested characters with a cost of 7 or less will not become active in your opponent's next refresh phase. Absolute all-star in sealed, guys. This is a really, really good sealed card here. It's a 1-cost 3K, and it acts as pseudo removal to lock down 2 7-cost characters. Outstanding. This is a great card for sealed here, guys. Really, really good stuff. Okay, moving on to blue. Ezo, 6 cost, 6,000 power, 1K counter, on play, draw 2 cards. I could pretty much just stop right there, right? This is an all-star in sealed. It's a 6 cost, 6K. Stats are a little low, but you're still getting, 1-to-1 cost to power ratio there with a 1K counter built in, and you're drawing 2 cards. Guys, card draw is very scarce in sealed. This card is an auto-include no matter what, because this is a +1, okay? Understand what I mean by that. For the newer players, if you have a card, let's just say you have a card and it has a draw 1 built in. Okay, well, let's say you have 5 cards in your hand. You play out that card, you go down to 4 cards in hand, and then you draw back up to 5 from the effect of a draw 1. Okay, so that card you go hand neutral, right? You go card neutral in your hand, right? This card goes +1. If you have 5 cards in your hand and you play out this card, you go down to 4 cards, and then you draw 2 cards. You go up to 6 cards in hand. This card is a +1, auto-include and sealed, and it's a 1K counter. There's just no downside to this card, guys. Really good stuff here. Next up, we have Edward Newgate. This is probably the best. Guys, hear me out. This might be the best character in sealed, okay? 10 cost, 12K, and blocker. Draw 2, trash 1, and give 2 Dawn to your character and 2 Dawn to your leader. Outstanding, auto-include. If you get multiples of this card, you run all of them. It is that good. Okay, this is the alt art. Looks really good. Otama, 2K counter with utility on play if you have 3 or less life cards. Guys, make sure you check to see if your opponent has 3 or less life cards. In blue, make sure you're checking if your opponent has 3 or less life cards. And with purple, make sure your opponent is attaching a Dawn to their characters, because some effects require that, guys. Really keep an eye on that. We'll talk more about purple in a minute. But Otama, if you have 3 or less life cards, draw 2 and trash 1. Really good 2K counter here. This is a great utility 2K counter, and like we were talking about earlier with the 6-cost Trafalgar Law, yeah, if you get like a 1-cost Garp and a 1-cost Otama and the Law, okay, well now you've got some options. Now we got some serious options to really consider for sealed. Great combos then. Okay, next up you have Curiel, 3-cost 4K, no counter, on KO draw a card. When attacking, give up to 1 rested Dawn card to your leader with a type including Whitebeard Pirates, or 1 character with a type including Whitebeard Pirates. It's not a bad card, but it's not a card that I would prioritize. If you have no other better options for your 3-cost spot in the deck, then, for sure include this, because on KO draw a card's good enough to run anyway, but it does not have a counter, guys, and it's not a 5K. I'd be careful with this card, but again, if you have no other better options, run it. Okay, Haruta, 1 cost, 2K, 1K counter. When attacking, if you have 4 or less cards in your hand, draw a card. This is a great 1-cost character, 1 drop to play in sealed, because it can help with your hand size, and you don't care what happens to it. You don't even have to load up on it, guys. Even if you just tap it to draw a card, if you have 4 or less cards in your hand, cool. Let your opponent attack into it with their characters, because you already drew a card from them when attacking, and now they're attacking into it. It basically drew you 2 cards. It basically saved you a card and drew you a card. Really, really good stuff here. Vista, 6 cost 8K with double attack once per turn. If this character would be KO'd or be removed from the field by your opponent's effect, you may trash 1 card with a type including Whitebeard Pirates from your hand instead. 6 cost 8K with potential a limited version of evasion built in. You do have to trash a card with Whitebeard Pirates from its types, or in its types from your hand, but still very good even without that once per turn effect, because it's a 6 cost 8K with double attack. Really, really good card here, guys. This is an all-star in sealed. Next up, we have Fossa. This is a 2-cost 3K with a 1K counter. It's basically evasion for Whitebeard Pirates type cards. I would stay away from this card in sealed, guys. I don't think it's good enough, unless you just get every single Whitebeard card. Okay, next up we have Blaminko, 5-cost 6K with a 2K counter, vanilla Whitebeard Pirates type card. Really, really solid inclusion in the deck. Next up is Blenheim, 6-cost 7K with a 2K counter. Excellent card to include in sealed. Then we have Boa Sandersonia. This is a 2-cost 3K, 1K counter. On play if your leader is Boa Hancock. Play up to 1 Boa Hancock with a cost of 3 less from your hand. This is one of those cards that has a lot of specificity. You have to specifically, having the leader being Boa, that's not too hard for running Rainbow Luffy. But playing up to 1 Boa Hancock with a cost of 3 less from your hand, that's a little too specific for sealed, guys. If you feel really confident running this, you should. But otherwise, I would stay away from it. Okay, here's the Boa that it will probably be able to cheat out here. 3-cost 5K Boa Hancock. On KO, if your leader is Boa Hancock or multicolored, draw 2 cards. This, okay, either the Frankie we saw or this Blue Boa Hancock, these are the best 3-drops in sealed for this set, guys, almost guaranteed. They're both 3-cost 5Ks. They do not have a counter, but you want to play them out early anyway, so they're out of your hand. This one has an on KO to draw to, and the Frankie has an on KO to rest cards. Really, really good cards for sealed. Next up, okay, this is the Altar. Looks really good. Okay, now we have Boa Marigold, 5-cost 4K, 1K counter with blocker. It does have blocker, and then we have on play if your leader's Boa, play up to 1 Boa with a cost of 6 or less from your hand. The on play probably won't matter all that much in sealed, but this is at least a 5-cost 4K, 1K counter blocker. This is worth including if you did not get any other blockers in your pool. If you were very low on your blocker count, this is at least something that can compensate there. Next up, we have Marshall D. Teach, 4-cost 5K, 1K counter, when attacking, you may trash one of your characters with a type including Whitebeard Pirates, draw 1 card, and this character gains banished during this turn. The when attacking effect is insanely powerful, but you do have to trash one of your characters with a type including Whitebeard Pirates. That's a bit steep, of course, but if you build your deck in a certain way, it probably won't be that bad. But this is a 4-cost 5K with the 1K counter with some potential upside with that when attacking. Not too bad to include in sealed. Okay, next up we have Yamato, 5-cost 6K, 1K counter, on play if you have 3 or less life cards. Remember what I was saying about blue, guys. Whenever you see a powerful effect from blue, make sure you look at their life cards before they try to do anything. If you have 3 or less life cards, draw 2 cards. Then give up to 1 Rested Dawn card to your leader. Now, guys, this card is incredible. This card is a +1, just like what we saw with Ezo, auto-include, all-star for sealed, 5-cost 6K with a 1K counter, okay? And then if you have 3 or less life cards, draw 2. So it's a +1 in hand, and you're giving a Dawn card to your leader, just to one of your leaders. Yeah, either way, really good stuff here, auto-include and sealed. Okay, then we have the Altar, very nice. Next up, we have Rakuyo, 3-cost 4K, 1K counter, when attacking if you have 4 or less cards in your hand. All of your characters with a type including Whitebeard Pirates gain +1,000 power during this turn. I'm not a huge fan of liege cards. That's what they call, I think in Magic they call them liege cards, where like basically you're buffing your board with, in this case with this when attacking effect. I'm not a huge fan of liege cards in the One Piece trading card game, but it's not a terrible card, and if you build your deck in a certain way, it could be kind of decent. Otherwise, I would stay away from this card. There are much better 3-drops to run in sealed, in OP-13. Okay, next up is Little Oars Jr., 7-cost 7K, 1K counter, when attacking. If your leader type includes Whitebeard Pirates, draw 1 card. Okay, guys, in Luffy, this card is insane. Rainbow Luffy goes, okay, 7-cost 7K, 1K counter, when attacking, draw a card. Yep, seems good, no downside, auto-include, really good stuff here. Great card for sealed. Okay, next up we have, if I bow down to power, what's the point in living? This is a 1-cost 3K. With main, you may rest one of your Dawn cards. That's 2 Dawn altogether. If you have 1 or less life cards, okay, your opponent cannot activate blocker whenever your leader attacks during this turn. Okay, wow. So this is a way to attack through for lethal through all the chump blockers. Really nice utility piece to have in sealed. I probably wouldn't include more than 1 of these, maybe 2 at the most, because it is at least a 1-cost 3K. But being able to attack through blockers at the end of the turn, at the end of the game, when they have a whole board of blockers, this card could be really solid. Next up, we have Phoenix Pyre Apple. This is a 1-cost 3K. With main, rest one of your Dawn cards. So, again, a 2 Dawn investment here. Place up to one of your opponent's characters with 3,000 power or less at the bottom of the owner's deck. So it's a 1-cost 3K with some potential upside to bottom deck some character. Yeah, not bad. This is a pretty good card to include in sealed. Okay, next up we have Brilliant Punk. 4-cost, trigger, draw a card. The effect is you may return one of your characters to the owner's hand. Return up to 1 character with a cost of 6 or less to the owner's hand. So I actually like this a lot better than the 6-cost law we were looking at. Now, yeah, if you can run both and you have enough targets to play back out, by all means do that. However, the reason I like this better than the 6-cost law in general is because this bounces one of your opponent's characters. The law allows you to pull back a character to potentially play out another character, which is good too, but I think this is better because you're pulling back a character to bounce one of your opponent's characters off the board and slow them down. So really good card here, guys. This is a very solid removal card for sealed. Okay, moving on to the purple cards, guys. We're on Amatsuki Toki. This is a 2-cost 3K with a 1K counter. This is like evasion for Roger Pirates characters. I would probably stay away from this card in sealed. Okay, next up is Inarashi. So, guys, there's going to be a lot of purple cards we look at that are very similar. And always check, notice what this says. On play, this is a 3-cost 3K with a 1K counter. On play, if you have any Dawn cards given, that means attached to a character, attached to a leader, attached in any way, or given is the word they use. If you have any Dawn cards given, add up to 1 Dawn card from your Dawn deck and rest it, then KO up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 1 or less. KOing a character with a cost of 1 or less isn't quite as relevant in Sealed. However, ramping a Dawn, that's pretty good, guys, and there's a lot of purple cards that do that. But again, make sure if you're playing it, or if you're watching your opponent play out a card like this, make sure to check if they have a Dawn card given when they go to use these effects here. This card's decent. I'm not a huge fan of this one. I think there's better options for us to run for ramping Dawn. But if you want to ramp at all, the thing I don't like about this card is it is a 4-cost card technically, because you have to attach a Dawn card somewhere on the field or give a Dawn card somewhere and then pay 3 for this character to ramp a Dawn. Okay, well, if that's the case, I'm not a huge fan of this one. But if you have no better options to ramp and you're trying to in this set, you can go for something else. Because let me explain it like this, guys. Getting to your even curve is typically the most important thing to do. Okay, so in other words, being able to go from like a from a 3 Dawn turn to a 6 Dawn turn, I think is much more important than going from a 4 Dawn turn to a 7 Dawn turn. But who knows? We've seen some really good 7-cost characters like Nico, Robin, and Little Oars Jr. So it all depends on what you draw into, and really consider how this will play out in your curve. Decent card all around, though. Okay, next up is Crocus. This is a 5-cost, 6K, 1K counter. On play, if you have any Dawn cards given, remember what I was saying about given Dawn cards in purple, guys. Get very used to that. I'm going to sound very repetitive. A lot of cards have this, or have that condition in this set. If you have any Dawn cards given, add up to 1 Dawn card from your Dawn deck and set it as active. Okay? When attacking, return up to one of your opponent's characters with a base power of 3,000 or less to the owner's hand. Okay, the when attacking is kind of just whatever, but being able to ramp Dawn is not bad. But remember, guys, this is basically a 6-cost card, because you have to have 6 Dawn, 1 Dawn given, and then 5 Dawn for this card, and you'll go from 7 Dawn, you'll go from 6 Dawn to 7, which will push you into a 9 Dawn turn on the next turn. I don't think this is a bad card, but I think we have better options. But it is at least well statted, even if you're playing it out on curve, guys. It's a 5-cost 6K with a 1K counter and a when attacking effect to help clear up the little small chump blockers on the board, or searchers or whatever. Okay, next up is Kazuki Oda. Now this card I think is very strong, guys. 5-cost, 6,000 power, 1K counter blocker. That alone, I could stop there and say, yep, this is basically an auto-include in Sealed, because it's a 5-cost 6K 1K counter blocker, but it has another potential upside of this on play. If you have any Dawn cards given, add up to 1 Dawn card from your Dawn deck and rest it. Okay, so really, really powerful stuff here. Even though you can't ramp unless you're on 6 Dawn or higher, it doesn't matter. It's still a very solid card because it has blocker. Okay, next up is Goldie Roger. 10 cost, 13,000 power. Your leader and all of your characters that do not have a type, including Roger Pirates, have their effects negated. Now, understand how the wording works here, guys. It is saying that your leader will have their effects negated. So don't be confused by this. It says your leader, and then all of your characters that do not have a type, including Roger Pirates, have their effects negated. It's saying that all of your characters that do not have the Roger Pirates type, their effects are negated, but your leader will also have their effects negated, even if they have the Roger Pirates type. Understand the wording's a little bit confusing, but just do realize that, because even though your leader's, it's going to be Rainbow Luffy more than likely, it doesn't really, it's going to negate it no matter what, guys. That's the best way I can explain it. Okay? All right, next up we have it has an on play Dawn -3. Your leader gains plus 2,000 power until the end of your opponent's next end phase. Then give all of your opponent's characters minus 2,000 power until the end of your opponent's next end phase. This card right here, guys, is an absolute beast in Sealed. Even though you go Dawn -3, and even though it negates a bunch of effects and all that, it doesn't matter. You're playing out a 10-cost, 13,000 power character. Your leader's becoming a 7,000 power character, and your opponent's entire board just got debuffed, got reduced in power by 2,000 each. It doesn't affect their leader, but still, this card is very, very good in Sealed. Excellent boss character to include in Sealed. Okay, next up we have the Altar. Look at that, guys. Absolutely incredible. This is an Akira Igawa masterpiece. Looks really good. Okay, then we have Shanks. This is a Roger Pirate Searcher. Again, guys, with any Searcher, if you have enough targets to search up, I would consider running it. Or I will say this, if you did get a Goldie Roger, you might just want to run Shanks anyway, because you're getting closer and closer to your Goldie Roger, which is a card that can potentially just win you the game, right? So 1 cost, 2,000 power, 1K counter, top 5 Searcher for Roger Pirates type. Okay? Very nice alt art. Okay, then we get to Silver's Rayleigh. So again, guys, say you get a Silver's Rayleigh, maybe you get a Crocus or an Odin, because I think the Odin was also Roger Pirates, right? Yeah, this one's a Roger Pirates version of Odin. So you can search up Roger, Odin, Crocus, or Silver's Rayleigh with that Shanks, right? So if you get a bunch of good searchable targets, then you should definitely run it. But this Silver's Rayleigh, 8 cost, 9,000 power, rush character, period. But then it also has an on-play effect. If you have any Dawn cards given, rest up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 5 or less, then add up to 1 Dawn card from your Dawn deck and set it as active at the end of this turn. So guys, it is an 8 cost 9k with rush, and it can potentially rest one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 5 or less. So when you're trying to go for lethal damage at the end of a game, you can rest down their blocker and smash in with this character and whatever else on the board. This is a great card in sealed, guys, and it's an 8 cost 9k, basically a boss character in sealed. Really, really good stuff here. Auto include, I would say. Okay, then we have the alt art. Very nice. Okay, next up we have Scopper. Scopper's Gaben. This is a 6 cost, 7k, 1k counter. On play, if your leader's type includes Roger Pirates, draw 2 and trash 1 cards from your hand, then add up to 1 Dawn card from your Dawn deck and rest it. So this is one of the few cards within Purple Roger Pirates that does not require you to have a Dawn card given to your a Dawn card given, right? It just says if your leader type includes Roger Pirates. Okay, no problem. Being Rainbow Luffy, we have that, right? You're going to get to draw 2 and trash 1 from your hand, then add up to 1 Dawn card from your Dawn deck and set as rested. This card is excellent, guys, because it's a 6 cost 7k. You can play out right on curve and still get the on play effect, and it basically goes neutral in hand, right? Because you're going to play this out from your hand, you're going to draw 2, but then you're going to trash 1. So you go neutral in hand size, and you develop a body, and you potentially ramp to Dawn. Excellent, excellent character here for sealed. Okay, next up is Douglas Bullet. 3 cost, 4,000 power, 1k counter character. If you have 8 or more Dawn cards on your field, this character gains plus 2,000 power. And then on play, if your leader type includes Roger Pirates, add up to 1 Dawn card from your Dawn deck and rest it. So remember what I was saying earlier, guys, about the, I think it was the Inarashi or something like that. I can't remember which one it was. There were some cards earlier on that they kind of moved us into an odd curve. Douglas Bullet, on the other hand, helps us get back on our even curve. Notice what it says. If your leader type includes Roger Pirates, add up to 1 Dawn card from your Dawn deck and rest it. This card, this is another... guys, there are some incredible 3-drops in this set for OP-13. I would definitely run Douglas Bullet over the other card we saw. I'm sorry, guys. We are going to have to go back. We are going to have to look at this real quick. Yeah, it was Inarashi. This card's fine, but you have to have 4 Dawn, technically, to ramp up to 5 to get to 7 next turn. Crocus, you have to be at 6 Dawn to get to 7 to go to 9 next turn. However, and same thing with Kazuki Odin, right? You have to have a Dawn card given in order to get from a 6 Dawn turn to a 7 going into 9. However, this card right here, the Scoffers and the Douglas Bullet here, these cards are just checking if your leader includes Roger Pirates, and then you're adding a Dawn, you're ramping. This card, and it's a 3 cost 4k, 1k counter. Yes, the stats are low at first, but remember, guys, if you have 8 or more Dawn cards in your field, this character gains plus 2,000 power. So don't even attack on your next turn. Let's just play out a normal game. Say you're going first. Turn 1 pass. Turn 2 on 3 Dawn. Play out the Douglas Bullet. We go up to 4 Dawn for that turn. Next turn we go up to 6 Dawn. Don't attack in with Douglas Bullet. Just keep developing your board. Next turn you're on 8. Now you have a 6,000 power character. Okay, so that's the way that I would play this character out. And worst case scenario, it's a 1k counter in hand. Really good stuff here. Okay, next up is Tom. This is a 2 cost 2k with a 1k counter. On play, Dawn -1, add up to 1 stage card with the cost of 3 or less from your trash to your hand. This is probably something that's meant more for constructed or standard. I would stay far away from this card in sealed. Next up is Napoleon. 5 cost 7k with a 1k counter vanilla character. Great card to have in sealed. It's a great filler card for sealed. Nekomamushi, 3 cost 3k with a 2k counter, and then on play if you have 8 or more Dawn cards in your field, KO up to one of your opponent's characters with 3,000 base power or less. It does go off of base power, right? Not a bad card because it is a 2k counter and it does have removal built in, but I think you might have better 2k counter options. But if you don't get any better options for 2k counters and you need some, obviously include this. Next up is Buggy. Now, this is a solid 2k counter for sealed, guys. 2 cost, 2,000 power. That's whatever. 2k counter. On play, if your leader type includes Roger Pirates, and you have any Dawn cards given, add up to 1 Dawn card from your Dawn deck and rest it. So guys, understand what I was saying earlier. Being on the odd curve, going first, pass the turn. Going second, you're on a 3 Dawn turn, right? If you went first, okay, attach a Dawn to your leader, smash in for the turn, play out the Buggy, and you go to 4 Dawn, and now you go 6-8. That is a really, really powerful play in sealed. This is a great 2k counter in sealed, and if we're running that Law card, here's another Law card we can use. Play out the Law on our 6 Dawn turn follow-up, pull back the Buggy 2K counter to our hand, play out a 5-cost Reston. That is a big, big power play in Sealed, guys. Look out for that combo, okay? Did y'all hear that? Buggy plus 6-cost Law into any 5-cost or lower character. Really good stuff there. Okay, next up is Prometheus, 5-cost 6K, 2K counter vanilla. Great card. This is actually, I would say the 5-cost vanilla cards, like the 5-cost 7Ks and the 5-cost 6K, 2K counter vanillas, those are probably the ones to prioritize in Sealed, because hear me out, those are cards you can cheat out with the Uda or whatever kind of 5-cost tricks you're trying to do that Green has right now within OP-13 Sealed. Prioritize the 5-cost stuff, guys. It could be really good unless you just get no synergy with it with your other cards. Next up is Hera, 4-cost 5K, 1K counter on play. Play up to 1 homies type character card with 3,000 power or less from your hand. Not a card to prioritize in Sealed. I think this is meant more for standard constructed. Okay, on to the events here. We have Guess We'll Have Another Scrap. You can only risk death while you're still alive. Okay, this is a 1-cost event, King of the Pirates, Roger Pirates type event, of course. It's a 1-cost 3K that says you may rest one of your Dawn cards, and if your leader is Goldie Roger and you have any Dawn cards given, add up to 1 Dawn card from your Dawn deck and rest it. This card is outstanding. Just like what we saw with Buggy, the 2K counter, you need 3 Dawn, but this is going to get you on your even curve, okay? So 1 Dawn to activate the event, 1 Dawn additional cost for the main, and 1 Dawn card given to a leader or some type of character or whatever, right? Hang on, if your leader is Goldie Roger and you have any Dawn cards given, yeah, so given somewhere on the field, then you can ramp to 4 Dawn, right? Or ramp a Dawn. So this card, outstanding for the early game, especially with Rainbow Luffy, and it's a 3K counter. Thumbs up. Great inclusion in Sealed. Okay, next up we have Divine Departure. This is another banger here, guys. All-Star in Sealed. 0-cost 3K, okay? And this can hit leaders or characters. Remember, guys, these 1-cost 3Ks, they can typically only protect your leader, okay? But this 0-cost 3K here, Divine Departure, can hit a leader or a character, okay? Then we have Main. You may rest 5 of your Dawn. And remember, this is a 0-cost event, so it is just 5 altogether. If you have any Dawn cards given, okay, so technically it'd be 6 or more, right? If you have any Dawn cards given, give up to one of your opponent's characters minus 8,000 power during this turn. So even the biggest character in the game, especially in this Sealed set, which is a 13K Roger, minus 8,000 to that character for the turn, that's a 5,000 power character. Now you can attack into it with pretty much anything on the board. Really, really good card. All-Star, auto-include in Sealed. This will also help in the late game to get a 3K counter by trashing bricks from your hand. Okay, next, oh wow, so here's the alt art for it, guys, for Divine Departure. It looks absolutely incredible. Okay, and then we have Go All the Way to the Top. This is a 1-cost 3K counter for the leader. And then Main, you may rest 3 of your Dawn cards, so 4 Dawn altogether. If you have any Dawn cards given, okay, so technically 5 Dawn altogether, KO up to one of your opponent's characters with 4,000 base power or less, and up to one of your opponent's characters with 3,000 base power or less. Not the best card for Sealed, but I will say at the end of the game, it could be kind of decent if they have a bunch of little chump blockers that are set up on the board. This could help you punch through for lethal. Okay, then we have Oro Jackson. This is a stage, 1-cost stage, once per turn. When your character with a type including Roger Pirates is removed from your field, or from the field by your opponent's effect, add up to 1 Dawn card from your Dawn deck and rest it. Not the best card to run in Sealed, guys. I would probably try to avoid this one. Okay, moving on to the black cards here. St. Ethan Baron, Venus Juro. This is a 6-cost 5K with a 1K counter. It's a Celestial Dragons 5 Elders type. I'm going to read this effect one time, guys, but all 5 of the Elders have this effect. If you have 7 or more cards in your trash, this character cannot be removed from the field by your opponent's effects, okay? And then in the case of Venus Juro here, he also has Rush. They don't all have Rush like that, but they all have that if you have 7 or more cards in your trash, you cannot be removed from the field by your opponent's effects. But this character also has, when attacking, if you have 10 or more cards in your trash, give up to one of your opponent's characters minus 2,000 power during this turn. Guys, probably not the best card in Sealed. I understand in Standard Constructed, this card is an absolute beast in the right deck with Emu as the leader. But in Sealed, probably not the best card if I'm being honest, guys. Probably avoid this. Okay, here's an alt art, and here's the special alt art. Okay, then we have Koala, 5-cost, 6K, 1K counter. If your leader has the Rebel Army type, this character gains +3 cost. Activate main once per turn. You may place 1 card from your trash at the bottom of your deck. Give up to 1 rested Dawn card to your leader or one of your characters. This card's just okay in sealed. It's a decent stat line. 5 cost 6K with a 1K counter. The activate main does allow you to put cards from your trash to the bottom of your deck, which is not really all that. It's not all that important in sealed, typically speaking, but it does allow you to get a Dawn in the process, right? So you're putting a card from your trash to the bottom of your deck, and you're getting 1 free Dawn for the turn. It's not bad, but I think we have better options in this set. Next up, we have 5 Elders. So this is one of the rare cases, guys, where you have a 10 cost 12K boss character that's probably just not that good in sealed. I'm sure there's a way to make it good in sealed, but who knows? I would leave that to the more advanced technical players, the more experienced players in sealed. I would actually stay away from this card in sealed as a 10 drop unless you just don't get a better 10 drop in your pools. Because I will say this, if you do slam this down as a 10 cost 12K, even if you don't ever use the activate main, it doesn't matter. You still have a 10 cost 12K on the board, right? So worst case scenario, you do get a huge stat body, but generally speaking, I think there's going to be way better options to include in sealed. Okay, here's the alt art. Okay, next up we have St. J. Garcia Saturn. This is a 4 cost 5K with a 1K counter. It is one of the Celestial Dragons 5 Elders type, and it has on play, look at 5 cards from the top of your deck, reveal up to 1 5 Elders type card and add it to your hand, then place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. I understand it. Remember, guys, I'm not going to repeat the same effect that each one of these 5 Elders has, where it has the evasion built in. But this card's not really great. It's a 4 cost 5K, 1K counter searcher. You'd think, like, man, that's really good. And I guess it's better than nothing if you just got, like, a really bad pull from your sealed, your 6 sealed booster packs. I guess it's better than nothing. But in general, unless you get, like, the most perfect pull for the 5 Elders package, I would probably stay away from this card. Okay, then we have the alt art and the special alt art. All right, next up we have Saint Shepherd Jupiter, 7 cost 5K with a 2K counter. It is at least a 2K counter, and it has the ability on your turn, if you have 10 or more cards in your trash, set the base power of all of your 5 Elders type characters to 7,000. Again, probably not a great card for sealed. And let me just say this in general, guys. I think the Celestial Dragons 5 Elders characters, yeah, in standard constructed, they're incredible. But when it comes to sealed, they're not exactly great, okay? This one's at least a 2K counter. Worst case scenario, if you just didn't get any other 2K counters to run. But I would try to find something better if you can. Basically a last resort, right? There's the alt art and there's the special alt art. Then we have Saint Jalmac. This is a 2 cost 4K, 1K counter vanilla character. Not great. I'm not going to lie, guys. I stay away from the 1 cost and 2 cost stuff in sealed unless it is just incredible utility. Okay. Next up, we have St. Shalria, 1 cost, 0 power, 1K counter. This is a searcher. On play, look at 3 cards from the top of your deck, reveal up to 1 Celestial Dragons type card other than St. Shalria, and add it to your hand, then trash the rest and trash 1 card from your hand. Again, guys, this is really specifically meant for Emu, I think. I'm not saying you couldn't make something work in sealed if you get the right pull for it, but it's not easy to get 7 to 10 or more cards in your trash in sealed. I don't think that happens very naturally over the course of a normal game. So I just don't think this is a card to prioritize in sealed, guys. Okay, next up we have St. Shalrose. Now, this is a 2 cost, 0 power, 1K counter blocker, so that already makes it worth running. The on-play trashes a card from the top of your deck, but that doesn't really matter, right? That's fine. In sealed, it would be unfortunate if you hit a really good card, but it doesn't matter. Maybe play this at the end of the game as a chump blocker if you just need something to try to survive your opponent's crackback, right? 2 cost, 0 power, 1K counter blocker, solid. This card's fine to include. Okay, next up we have Terry Giltio. This is a 5 cost 6K, 2K counter vanilla character. Great card to include in sealed. Okay, next up we have Saint Topman Warcury. Okay, 4 cost, 5,000 power, 1K counter character with on KO, draw 1 card. Now, it does have the evasion condition built in for the 7 or more cards in your trash. And if you have 7 or more cards in your trash, this card also gains blocker. I don't know how often you'll be able to rely on this character having blocker, but with it being a 4 cost 5K with a 1K counter and the ability to have and having a on KO draw 1 card baked into it, this might be one of the only 5 Elders cards that I would consider including in sealed. Okay, then we have the alt art and the special alt art. Next up we have Hack, 6 cost, 7,000 power, 2K counter character here. Really, really solid card to include in sealed. It's a great filler vanilla character for sealed. Okay, next up we have St. Marcus Mars. This is a 6 cost 5K with a 1K counter built in, and it has the same evasion condition, but this one also has blocker like Warcury, and it has on play, you may trash 1 card from your hand and KO up to one of your opponent's characters with a base cost of 5 or less. Okay, so basically, guys, the 2 blocker Five Elders, those are the ones that I would really consider running in Sealed if you get them. There's probably still better options to run over those cards in Sealed, but this right here, the ability to KO a 5 or less in Sealed, that is a thumbs up. That is really powerful in Sealed. And it's a potential blocker as well. It's a 6 cost 5k. That's not great. It does have a 1k counter, and it could potentially have blocker. But that on play effect to KO a 5 or less, that could be very solid. Okay. Then we have the Altart and the Special Altart. Okay, then going over to St. Mosgard here. 2 cost, 0 power, 2k counter. Okay, so it's a 2k counter. If you have 3 or less life cards, play up to 1 Mary Joie type stage card with a cost of 1 or less from your trash. Okay, I would avoid this in Sealed, guys, unless you just literally get no other 2k counters to include in your deck. Okay, next up we have Morgans. Now, guys, this is a great card for Sealed. It's a 3 cost 4k with a 1k counter. It has blocker and draw 2 trash 2. Yeah, this is an outstanding card for Sealed. All-star, in my opinion. It's a 3 cost 4k, which the stats aren't bad on that. But more importantly, it's a 1k counter with blocker and card draw. Now, it does draw 2 and trash 2, so you're still going negative in hand size, right? Because you're playing this card out for the turn, and then you're drawing 2 and then trashing 2, right? So you're still going -1 in hand. But it doesn't matter. You developed a blocker, you fixed your hand, and who knows, if you're running enough of those 5 Elders, you're also filling up your trash. This is a solid card in Sealed. It is a common. I'm not saying you should run a bunch of these, but maybe run like 2 of these if you can get your hands on it, and that'd be a nice way to fix your hand throughout games. Next up is York. 1 cost, 1,000 power, 1k counter on play. Up to one of your Celestial Dragons type characters gains plus 2,000 power during this turn. Yeah, I would avoid this in Sealed, guys. I don't think it's worth running. Next up is St. Rosward. 3 cost, 0 power, 1k counter. On play, you may trash 1 card from your hand. If you only have Celestial Dragons type characters, KO up to 2 of your opponent's characters with a base cost of 3 or less. Not the best card for Sealed. I would probably avoid this. Okay, next up we have the 5 Elders are at your service. 1 cost main, look at 3 cards from the top of your deck and reveal up to 1 Celestial Dragons type card other than the 5 Elders are at your service and add it to your hand. Then trash the rest, trigger, activate the card's main. Not a great searcher for Sealed, guys, because it's trying to search up Celestial Dragons. So unless you just get a ton of those in your search, or excuse me, in your packs, I would avoid this card. Okay, next up, this is a 1 cost 3k counter for the leader, but it does have, pay 1 and then rest 5 of your Dawn, so 6 Dawn altogether. If the only characters on your field are Celestial Dragons type characters, KO up to 1 of your opponent's characters with a base cost of 6 or less. It's not great. Let me say that, but it's also not bad, because if you've lost the board, you can basically pay 6 and get rid of a 6 cost or lower character. So it's not great, like I said, but it's also not terrible, and worst case scenario, it is a 1 cost 3k for your leader. Okay. Next up, we have Never Existed in the first place. This is a 1 cost. The main can KO or it can take out, it KOs up to 1 of your opponent's stages with a cost of 7 if your leader's Emu, so Rainbow Luffy's fine there. And then we also have counter if your leader's Emu, up to 1 of your leaders or characters' cards gains plus 4,000 power during this battle. Basically the best 1 cost counter event in the game as far as counter power goes. But some of the other 1 cost events have more utility. So it's going to come down to what all you draw in your packs. Okay, then we have the Empty Throne. Guys, this is, I don't know. I guess maybe if you see the perfect Emu pool where you see the leader and you see this stage, maybe it'll be worth trying to run then if you see a bunch of 5 Elders in your Sealed packs. But guys, this is a 7 cost. Your turn. If you have 19 or more cards in your trash, your leader gains plus 1,000 power. Probably not happening in Sealed. And then activate main. You may rest this card and 3 of your Dawn cards. Play up to 1 black 5 Elders type character card with a cost equal to or less than the number of Dawn cards on your field from your hand. It would be like a cute trick, I guess, but I wouldn't really try to build around this, guys. That's the main thing I'm trying to say. Not in Sealed. Okay, moving on to yellow. Here we go, guys. We have Atlas, 5 cost, 6k, 2k counter vanilla. Very good stuff here. Solid to run in Sealed, of course. Edison, 3 cost, 2,000 power, 2k counter character. Okay, trigger, draw 1 card and rest up to 1 of your opponent's characters with a cost of 3 or less. And the effect is activate main. You may trash this character, and if the number of your life cards is equal to or less than the number of your opponent's life cards, draw 1 card. Then rest up to 1 of your opponent's characters with a cost of 3 or less. This card, actually a great utility 2k counter for Sealed, guys. I would highly, highly consider running this for Sealed. Okay, if you get access to this, it is uncommon, but it's a 2k that also has card draw, right? If the number of your life cards is equal to or less than the number of your opponent's life cards, draw 1 card. Then rest up to 1 of your opponent's characters with a cost of 3 or less. Really solid. Okay, next up we have Gaio. I don't know how to say that. Sorry, guys. 4 cost, 6k, 1k counter vanilla. Guys, these used to be the absolute best cards to fill your deck up with. back in the day, right? Back in block 1, 2, and I'd even say even going up into block 3. But guys, I guess we're going into block 4 now, where we're seeing a bunch of 5-cost 7Ks and 5-cost 6K vanillas. But this 4-cost 6K, 1K counter vanilla, that is a thumbs up. These used to be absolute all-stars in sealed. Okay, next up we have Kazuki Hiyori, 4-cost, 0-power, 1K counter blocker. On KO, you may trash 1 card from your hand, and if your leader is multicolored, add up to 1 card from the top of your deck to the top of your life cards. Guys, it's a 4-cost blocker, not good stats, but it does have a 1K counter, worst case scenario, and it's a blocker, like I said, and then on KO, trash a card to gain a life. Really, really solid blocker here for sealed. Gaining life is extremely rare to be able to pull off in sealed, guys. Okay, next up we have Kazuki Momonosuke, 3-cost, 0-power, 1K counter. On play, look at all your life cards and place them back in your life in any order. Yep, I would avoid this card, guys. I don't think this is a great card to consider for sealed. Okay, next up is Connie, 1-cost, 1,000 power, 1K counter. Trigger, play this card. Opponent's turn. When a trigger activates, this character gains blocker during this turn. Probably too situational, probably too conditional to run in sealed, guys. I would stay away from this one. Next up, we have Shaka, 5-cost, 7K, 1K counter vanilla. Great filler card for sealed. Next up, Jory Bonnie, 9-cost, 10,000 power. Trigger, if you have 1 or less life cards, rest up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 7 or less. And then on play, if your leader has the Egghead type, this character gains Rush during this turn. Then your opponent adds 1 card from the top of their life cards to their hand. Guys, Life Burn, Rush, 9-cost 10K. It has a trigger to rest to 7 or less if you have 1 or less life. This card is an all-star in sealed, guys. This is like a boss level character. Really, really nice inclusion in sealed. Being able to, especially if you're playing Rainbow Luffy, guys, you play this out, it gets Rush, and your opponent loses a life card. It goes to their hand, and now you're smashing in for 10. Really, really nice card for sealed. Okay, there's the alt art. Okay, next up we have 5-cost, 6,000 power, 1K counter Jory Bonnie. With if this character would be removed from the field by your opponent's effects, you may return, or excuse me, by your opponent's effect, you may turn 1 card from the top of your life cards face up instead. Trigger, draw 2, trash 1. It's evasion. It is a form of it is a form of evasion, but I think we'll probably have better options to include in sealed. But worst case scenario, guys, this card is actually solid. 5-cost 6K with a 1K counter, trigger, draw 2, trash 1. I mean, there's not a lot of downsides to this card. Okay, next up we have Stussy, 7-cost, 7,000 power character with blocker. On play, if your leader has the Egghead type, play up to 1 character card with a cost of 5 or less and a trigger from your hand. So 7-cost, 7K blocker is already worth considering in sealed, despite, you know, or regardless of the on-play effect. Now, the on-play effect is a little bit, you know, it's very conditional, right? If your leader has the Egghead type, so we're going to be running Rainbow Luffy. That part's probably fine for us. But then play up to 1 character card with a cost of 5 or less and a trigger from your hand. So you can't just cheat out any 5 costs with this card, only ones that have trigger. So it's not too bad, though, guys. I would still probably consider running this because it's a 7-cost, 7K blocker. So really good stuff there. Okay, then we have the alt art. Looks really good. Okay, then we got a Pythagoras, 6-cost, 7K, 2K counter vanilla. Thumbs up. Really good filler card for sealed. Vegapunk, 1-cost, 1,000 power, 1K counter. If you have a total of 2 or more given Dawn cards, this character gains blocker. Okay, solid chump blocker for later in the game. 1 cost, and it has a 1K counter built in, but you do have to have 2 given Dawn cards. I call it attached, but you have to have 2 cards that are attached or given to cards. Okay. Solid card, though. Solid card. Lilith, this is a 1-cost, 2,000 power, 1K counter searcher. Trigger, activate this card's on-play effect. The on-play effect is look at 4 cards from the top of your deck, reveal up to 1 card with a trigger other than Lilith, and add it to your hand. Then place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. So we do have a card. It's going to depend on what you see. There's not a lot of trigger cards in this set. I mean, yellow is going to have a decent amount like usual. I think yellow usually has the most trigger cards, right, because it's like the life color. But here's the thing. I probably wouldn't run this card unless you just have a lot of really important trigger cards to search up. You know, like I will say this: if you have Jory Bonnie in your deck, right, and this has a trigger. So I would, if you're running Jory Bonnie and then Stussy with a bunch of little 5-cost, you know, cards like this that have trigger built in, then you might want to really consider running Lilith. Otherwise, I'd probably skip out on this one. Okay, and it is another card, by the way. Check out this altar, guys. Looks incredible. It is another card we can potentially combo later in the game with our with the 6-cost Green Trafalgar Law. Okay, next up we have S-Snake, 4-cost, 5,000 power, 1K counter. On play and when attacking, you may turn 1 card from the top of your life cards face up. Give up to one of your opponent's characters minus 2,000 power during this turn. Yeah, and then trigger, you may trash a card from your hand to play this card. This card is nice for sealed, guys, to play out right on your 4-Dawn turn. This is a great tempo card to play out because you're going to turn your top life card face up. You're going to reduce the power of one of your opponent's characters, and then you're going to bash into it. This is a really, really solid card in sealed, and that's an on play and when attacking. Really, really good stuff here. Okay. Then we have another awesome alt art. Looks good. Okay, then we have Paper Art After Image. This is a 2-cost counter event, trigger, draw a card, and then up to one of your leader or character cards gains plus 3,000 power during this battle. Then, if your opponent has 2 or less life cards, up to one of your leader or character's cards gains plus 1,000 power during this turn. Okay, so it's plus 3,000 for the battle and plus 1,000 for the turn if your opponent has 2 or less life cards. Decent event, but I think now that we have all these 1-cost 3K counters, I think those are just going to be the way to go moving forward, especially in sealed. Now, again, this is not a bad card to include. It has a trigger to draw a card, and of course, guys, if you're running the Lilith we were just looking at to search up cards with a trigger other than Lilith, this is a great searcher to have. Guys, this is a top 4 searcher for trigger cards, so we can search up something like Paper Art After Image, right? Let me see one more thing. Yeah, look at 4 cards from the top of your deck, reveal up to 1 card with a trigger other than Lilith, and add it to your hand. Yeah. Okay, and then put the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order, obviously. Okay, so Paper Art After Image, not too bad, but I do think the 1-cost 3K utility counters are just kind of better right now. Okay, next up we have the one who is the most free is the Pirate King. Okay, this is a 1-cost Supernova Straw Hat Crew event. It does a trigger, activates this card's main effect. The main effect is look at 5 cards from the top of your deck, reveal up to 1 Supernova type character card and add it to your hand, then place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. I don't think there's a ton of Supernova cards to search up in this set. There might be a few, though. I think there's some green and yellow ones, maybe. I'm not sure. I don't think this is the greatest card to include in sealed unless you just get a ton of Supernova cards you want to search up. Okay, then we have Gum Gum Dawn Stamp, 5-cost, trigger, draw 1 card. Main, you may turn 1 card from the top of your life cards face up, KO up to one of your opponent's characters with a base cost of 6 or less. Okay, guys, 5 cost to KO a 6 or less. Very solid removal for sealed, guys. This is definitely a card worth considering. 5 cost to KO a 6 or less is not great, but it's also not bad, especially if you didn't get any other form of removal in your sealed packs. Okay, now we got the secrets, guys. We have the SP cards going on from here. So we've got the 6-cost 7K Monkey D. Luffy secret. This is a 6-cost 7K with double attack and on play if your leader's multicolored. Set up to 4 of your Dawn cards as active. Then you cannot play character cards with a base cost of 5 or more during this turn. So guys, it's basically a 2-cost 7K, and then you just can't play out a 5-cost or higher character for the turn. Really, really strong card here, guys. It has double attack built in. Typically speaking, secret rares, those are auto includes for sealed, right, guys? Okay, here's the alt art for it, here's the manga for it, and here's the red manga for Luffy. Okay, then we have Ace. We're going to have the 3 brothers as the secret rares for OP-13. 6-cost 7K. If you have 3 or less life cards, remember what we were saying for blue, guys. Be sure to check what your opponent's life cards are when you or your opponent go to resolve these blue effects, okay? This one says if you have 3 or less life cards, this character gains Rush. And on play, give up to 1 rested Dawn card to your leader. Then you may return up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 5 or less to the owner's hand. And if you do, your opponent plays up to 1 character card with a cost of 4 or less from their hand. This card's going to probably be very strong in sealed because there's a lot of 5-cost characters that are very strong. And I don't think there's as many strong 4-cost and lower characters to cheat out. So in sealed, this is probably an auto include. And it's a 6-cost 7K, and if you go down to 3 life early on, it has Rush. Really good stuff here. Okay, there's the alt art. There's the manga, and there's the red manga. Okay, then we have Sabo. Okay, so this is the 3rd and final secret rare of OP-13. 6-cost, 7,000 power blocker with activate main once per turn. Up to one of your characters gains +2 cost until the end of your opponent's next turn. Then give up to 1 rested Dawn card to your leader. So the plus cost probably won't matter all that much in sealed. However, giving up to 1 rested Dawn card to your leader, that does matter. That's actually a big deal because you have a 6-cost 7K blocker, and then for the rest of the game, you're just giving 1 free rested Dawn around, to your leader at least, for the rest of the game. So really, really good stuff there. 6-cost 7K blocker. Excellent card here, guys. Excellent card. Okay, there's the alt art, there's the manga, and there's the red manga. Okay, now we got a few more, guys. We got some SP, special parallel arts here. So this is the EB02 Searcher Ace, 5-cost 5K with a 1K counter. It is an Alabasta Whitebeard Pirates type card. On play, if your leader type includes Whitebeard Pirates, look at 5 cards from the top of your deck. Reveal up to 1 character card with the cost of 2 or less. or excuse me, with a cost of 2, not 2 or less, and add it to your hand. Then place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order, and play up to 1 character card with the cost of 2 or less from your hand. Probably not a great card to run in sealed, guys. I would not run this card, especially in this set. There's not a lot of 2-cost cards we're trying to mess around with. Plus, I think when most people open up these SPs, I would probably put them in a sleeve and in a hard case or a hard sleeve. And what do they call it? Hard case or hard sleeve, whatever you call it. And I would just put this card away. However, anything you bust open in your packs is fair game to run and sealed. Okay, so I do at least have to go over these. Lilith, 3 cost, 5k, on play. Look at 5 cards from the top of your deck. Reveal up to 1 egghead type card other than Lilith and add it to your hand. Then place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. Trigger, if your leader is Vegapunk, play this card. Could be decent because I think there are some egghead cards in this set. Could be kind of decent and sealed, to be honest. But again, probably not worth running. If I pop open a SP Super Parallel Alt-Art card and sealed, I'm sleeving it and I'm putting it away. Okay, but this card's still kind of decent. Okay, I say that. Then we see this 8 cost 9k Sabo. Looks incredible, first of all. 8 cost 9k, on play, trash a card from your hand to KO a 5 or less and a 3 or less. Yeah, this is all the way back from OP-13, guys. This is a very, very strong card and sealed. You might want to consider playing it, but honestly, I probably still wouldn't, guys. I would just save the card. Okay, they're really starting to tempt us now. Now they're really starting to tempt us, right? 10 costs 12k with Rush and gives all your opponent's characters minus 1,000 power. This is, of course, the Shanks from OP-09. Very, very strong card for sealed. So there's a gold version and a silver version. They're the same card, though, otherwise. Really, really good card for sealed. It would be very tempting to play this if you open it. Then we have Ben Beckman. Oh my goodness. The decisions get harder and harder as we keep going, guys. 7 cost 7k with a 1k counter and KO, or excuse me, not KO, specifically trash up to one of your opponent's characters with 6,000 power or less. Incredible card for sealed. Then we have a wanted poster, Goldie Roger, 10 cost 13k with Rush. When your opponent activates blocker, if either you or your opponent has 0 life cards, you win the game. Okay, great card for sealed, I have to say. This Luffy, too, 9 costs 10k. On play, you may return 1 or more Dawn cards from your field to your Dawn deck. Draw a card, and this character gets Rush. And it looks really good. Look at that art, guys. Looks absolutely incredible. Smoker, 5 cost 7k. They're just torturing us at this point. They're just absolutely torturing us, right? 5 cost 7k with Banish. Activate main, set up to one of your Dawn cards as active. Then you cannot set Dawn cards as active using character effects during this turn. Incredible card for sealed. Then we have, okay, so now we're probably going to have all the secret cards from OP-13 in their wanted poster form. So here is Luffy. Here is, like Luffy 2.0. Look at this, guys. So someone mentioned this on stream last night. I was streaming last night. Someone mentioned, check out the on-play effect of this Luffy, right? This is standard. On-play if your leader's multicolored. Set up to 4 of your Dawn cards as active, then you cannot play character cards with a base cost of 5 or more during this turn. Okay, now here's the ace. Wait a minute, if your leader is multicolored, set up to 4 of your Dawn cards as active, then you cannot play character cards with a base cost of 5 or more during this turn. So hear me out, guys. If you do bust open this card and it says that, I don't think that's accurate. Notice what this says right here for the effect. This is what it should say, okay, which is on play, give up to 1 rested Dawn card to your leader, then you may return up to 1 of your opponent's characters with a cost of 5 or less to the owner's hand, and if you do, your opponent plays up to 1 character with a cost of 4 or less from their hand. I understand what it says on the card is different, but I think you have to go by what the rules are on this one. I think you'll have to play it based on what the normal effect of Ace is. If you're even daring enough to play a card like this in sealed. Okay, then we have the Sabo. This is, of course, the secret Sabo. And then we have Monkey D. Luffy. This is the treasure rare. It's a 5 cost 7k from OP-11. 5 cost 7k with a 1k counter and blocker. And if you have 5 or more cards in your hand, this character cannot attack. Okay. And then we get back to the leaders. So, guys, that's it. So, just to recap, now we're going to absolutely speed around this, guys. I have to say that Red has OP-13. Let me stop right here for a second. OP-13 looks like it will be an incredible sealed experience. So, if you are just now getting into the game, you could not have picked a better set. This is probably one of the best looking sealed sets I've ever seen. So, notice some things, guys. I feel like there's going to be a ton of bruisers in this set. Blockers we'll talk about in a minute. There's actually not a whole lot of blockers. Bruisers, check, we have those. Counters, check, we have those. Card draw, there was a decent amount of that, so check, there's some of that. And even removal and pseudo removal, as I call it, plenty of that to go around. Blockers, though, as we recap here, we're going to talk about that. Inazuma, great 2k counter, utility, pseudo removal, Ace Sabo and Luffy here. Okay, Imperial Ironclad, we're going to stay away from these. Good bruisers here. I'm looking for blockers now specifically. Great Searcher with Garp here. Decent Dragon here with Evasion. Okay, good counter power and removal all over the red events. All the red events are great for like removal / pseudo removal. Okay, then we get to green. We still have not even seen a blocker yet, guys. Okay, here we go. So we got the 5-cost 6K blocker Kobe. By the way, that Uda, guys, I'm telling you right now, I think this might be an all-star and sealed. We'll have to see. Okay, it might be a real all-star and sealed. Great 2K counter Gordon. So we finally get a blocker in Kobe. We got Sunny Kun here. Sanji solid. Of course, Ace is solid. Yeah, guys, there are not a lot of blockers. So this Trafalgar Law, I was thinking I probably wouldn't even run this card if I got it. Maybe I would just because it is at least a blocker when you have 1 or less life cards. Okay, great 3-cost characters to cheat out in this, or to play out in this set with Frankie and Boa and Douglas Bullet. Incredible 3-cost characters to play out. This Beppo's insane, standing at the end of turn. Yeah, look at this, guys. What was that, 1 or 2 blockers that we saw in all of green? Okay, we get to blue. Now, of course, this is a blocker, but this is a 10-cost 12K SR, guys. This card, great card for sealed, obviously common sense. 2K counter here. Otama, great 1 cost there. Double attacker Vista. Look at this, guys. So here we go. We have a priority. This Boa Marigold might be better than I thought because I am not seeing a lot of blockers here, guys. Okay, great Yamato here with the draw 2. Okay, keep going here. Then we get to the events. These are all solid. Purple. Okay, blocker Odin. I think, is there just 1 blocker per each color, guys? I think there might just be 1 blocker per each color. Now, Rush on Silver's really solid card here, of course, and the Roger we already passed. Here's Douglas Bullet, another great 3-cost card to play out on curve. A lot of good stuff here, but not a lot of blockers. I'm sorry if I sound repetitive, guys, but we're trying to find it. So here we go. We got the Rush card Venus, Koala, 5 Elders. Okay, I'm just kind of blitzing through these guys. So again, this St. Charlos might just be an autumn including your deck, and it's an uncommon, guys. It's an uncommon, so make sure to snag that. Warcury, it's a blocker, but not unless you have 7 or more cards in your trash. Okay, same thing with Mars. You have to have 7 or more cards in your trash in order for the card to be a blocker. So make sure you're checking that. So guys, let's talk about some things you need to check when you're doing sealed. For blue, make sure you're checking how many cards they have in their life for this set. For purple, make sure they have Dawn cards given when effects require that. And with some of these black cards, make sure they have 7 or more cards in their trash. And in the case of Venus, guys, we have to go back real quick because it's important. Remember, guys, with Venus, you have to have 10 or more cards in your trash for the when attacking effect. Okay? Okay, now let's keep going forward. Okay, so we talked about Warcury. We talked about Mars. That's one of the only blockers there, too. Morgans. Okay, so now this card... Remember what I said before, guys? Pretty much disregard that. This is an auto-include, 3, 4, however many you get, because there are not many blockers in this set. Morgan's will be an auto-include for the most part, guys, and it has the card draw built in. Okay, let's keep going. We're in the events now. Now going on to Yellow. Yellow has a blocker Hiyori that also gains life. All-star choice right here, but it is a rare. It's not a common or uncommon. It's a rare. Okay. This Connie can potentially get blockers. So guys, if you don't get any other blockers in your pools, maybe try to go for this, but not the best card to get overall, I have to say. Okay, now let's keep going. This Stussy, blocker, but it's an SR, okay? And this 1 cost Vegapunk, as I was saying, this is just a great blocker, period, no matter how many blockers are in the set. Great card here to have. And guys, that might be it, okay? So guys, oh, and of course the Secret Sabo. The Secret Sabo has blocker built in as well. And then the rest of these cards, let's see if any of them have blocker. Hang on, that was, yeah, the Roger. Yeah, none of the others do other than the Wanted Sabo like we were just talking about. And then this 5-cost 7K Treasure Rare Luffy. So guys, there you go. That is it. I'm going to leave with this card on the screen here. Tell me what y'all thought of OP-13. Let me just recap real quick by saying, or finish up by saying this. This set looks absolutely incredible, okay? OP-13 for sealed looks incredible. Pretty limited on the blockers, so make sure you do that first. Notice how I have the bruisers, blockers, counters, card draw, and removal. Let me say this real quick, guys. I would say to try to build your deck roughly around these numbers here. 12 bruisers, 8 blockers, and then have about 12 2K counters or better, and then have 8 card draw and removal combined. So 4 card draw, 4 removal, right? And that rounds up to 40. And you can, of course, move those numbers around how you see fit. And when I say bruisers, remember the bosses are in there as well, like the big cards, okay? So yeah, guys, good luck in your sealed tournaments. If you have any questions, please don't be afraid to ask down in the comment section below. It looks like OP-13 is going to be absolutely incredible in sealed format, okay? A lot of good stuff to look out for. Okay, we're done. I'm absolutely done with this. Let me get this off the screen here. Let me get the outro. Oh, okay, hang on. Gotta get the prio off. There we go. Okay, now let me get the outro going here. Guys, if you are liking, subscribing, sharing, commenting, viewing, or just viewing my stuff, thank you so much, guys. Please don't forget to use my TCG player affiliate link as well. People who are donating through Patreon or PayPal, Playmat supporters, YouTube members, Discord community, everyone who's helping me out, thank you so much, guys. This community has been incredible. All right, I'm done. Hope y'all enjoyed. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Until next time, guys, peace.